Before we get into today's show, let me tell you about the latest deal from Mike Lindell, MyPillow. Once again, the big box stores have canceled their orders simply because they don't agree with Mike Lindell's politics. They don't like it because he supports President Trump. Well, he's going to pass that savings on to you. No more middleman. And boy, does he have some great deals on the Giza Dream sheets and the Percal bed sheets. Listen to this. Giza Dream queen size, normally $139.98. Your wholesale price, $69.99 when you use promo code Joey. King size, only $79.99. The Percal queen size, normally $89.98. Your wholesale price, $29.98 when you use promo code Joey. Just call 1-800-893-4059 or go to mypillow.com. Always use promo code Joey. Free shipping options available. This allotment's not going to last very long. When they're gone, they're gone. mypillow.com. Promo code Joey. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition Studios. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. Welcome and happy Friday to you as we wrap up another week. Here's what we're going to talk about today. The Trump administration yesterday offered a $50 million reward for information leading to the arrest of Venezuelan dictator Nicolás Maduro. We have those details. Longtime Democrat strategist James Carville has some advice for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. Don't run for public office again. He says the Democrat Party needs to move on. The woman seen being violently slammed to the ground in the now viral footage of a brutal beatdown in downtown Cincinnati last week is speaking out after being forced into hiding following her near-death experience that was seen worldwide. We have her comments. And Representative Sheri Biggs joins us to talk about President Trump's first 6 months and her inaugural salute to liberty coming up in just over a week.
I told you we'd be back.
And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
It's Joey Hudson.
I wanted to name it the Joey Hudson bill, but, you know, they don't allow you to put names on bills. But I wanted to call it the Joey Hudson bill because I know that one's been near and dear to you for a number of years.
That's how it's done. Let your voice be heard.
And the truth shall set you free.
Here's Joey Hudson.
All right, folks, buckle up because this is the big one, and it shows exactly what a strong America first foreign policy looks like when you've got leadership willing to call evil by its name. The Trump administration yesterday dropped the hammer on one of the most dangerous men on the planet, Venezuelan dictator and narco-terrorist Nicolás Maduro. And they're putting their money, or our money, where our mouth is. $50 million for information leading to his arrest. It's not a typo, $50 million. Attorney General Pam Bondi didn't mince words. She laid it all out in a video posted on X. Maduro's not some corrupt socialist thug bankrupting his own country. He's working hand in hand with foreign terrorist organizations like the Tren de Aragua, the Sinaloa cartel, and the so-called cartel of the Suns. His business model, flood America with deadly drugs, cocaine laced with fentanyl, and rake in blood money while Americans die. The Attorney General says it's time to stop, and she's got $50 million if you'll help her find him.
Today, the Department of Justice and State Department are announcing a historic $50 million reward for information leading to the arrest of Nicolás Maduro. Maduro uses foreign terrorist organizations like TDA, Sinaloa, and Cartel of the Suns to bring deadly drugs and violence into our country. To date, the DEA has seized 30 tons of cocaine linked to Maduro and his associates, with nearly 7 tons linked to Maduro himself, which represents a primary source of income for the deadly cartels based in Venezuela and Mexico. Cocaine is often laced with fentanyl, resulting in the loss and destruction of countless American lives. The DOJ has seized over $700 million of Maduro-linked assets, including 2 private jets, 9 vehicles, and more. Yet Maduro's reign of terror continues. He is one of the largest narco-traffickers in the world and a threat to our national security. Therefore, we've doubled his reward to $50 million. Under President Trump's leadership, Maduro will not escape justice, and he will be held accountable for his despicable crimes. If you have any information to bring this criminal to justice, call 1-202 307-4228 or go online.
I would say that they're kind of serious about this, wouldn't you? So let's just do a quick review here. I mean, think about this for a minute. When the Attorney General says that the DEA has already seized 30 tons of cocaine that is tied directly back to Maduro. 30 tons. Nearly 7 tons traced directly to Maduro himself. This isn't some inside or some part-time job, some side hustle. This is a primary source of income for cartels in Mexico and Venezuela. And here's what you need to understand. This poison isn't just ruining lives in parts of of South America. It's killing Americans in Ohio, in Florida, in South Carolina, in your town, wherever you're listening today. Families torn apart, lives lost, futures destroyed because a foreign dictator sees our country as his dumping ground for drugs. We're his marketplace. He doesn't care who's hurt. He doesn't care that your child, or you for that matter, or maybe a first responder is exposed to fentanyl and it kills them. This isn't new either. Back in March 2020, Maduro was indicted in federal court in New York for narco-terrorism, conspiracy to import cocaine, possession of machine guns and destructive devices, and conspiracy to possess those weapons too. This guy's rap sheet reads like a terrorist warlord's resume, and he's proud of it. He loves killing Americans. During President Trump's first term, the administration put a $15 million price tag on Maduro's head. Biden's State Department eventually raised it to $25 million, but now under Trump's return to power, that bounty yesterday doubled to $50 million. Why? Because President Trump and his administration understands you don't just talk tough, you hit the bad guy where it hurts, and you never stop applying pressure. Because somebody out there, maybe somebody who does business with Maduro right now, would like to have that $50 million. And they'll turn on him in a minute. And that's what Trump and his administration is hoping for. The Attorney General made it clear under President Trump's leadership, Maduro will not escape justice. We've already seized over $700 million in his assets, private jets, luxury vehicles, you name it, we've seized it. But as she said, his reign of terror continues, and so will the pressure until this man is behind bars. Now think about that for a minute, though. We've seized $700 million of his assets, but yet he's still in hiding. Most people, $700 million, if you took his homes and his vehicles, where's he going to go? He'd be out of business. It just kind of shows you how successful this business is for this man, because he can walk away from losing $700 million in assets and evidently still doing pretty good. Still has the resources to hide out. Now, folks, this is what our national security needs to look like. This is what a real war on drugs looks like. Not photo ops, not empty speeches, but taking down the international kingpins, pumping death into our communities, doing something about it. Not just flying around the country or the world, talking about getting to the root of the problems, like Kamala Harris loved to do. And if you want to really be honest about it, the socialist regime in Venezuela isn't just some far-off problem. It's tied to our border crisis. It's tied to the fentanyl crisis. It's tied to the violence plaguing a lot of our cities around the country. So here's the message, loud and clear, from the White House and the Department of Justice. If you're a dictator using terrorist cartels to poison the American people, you're going to be hunted. Your assets are going to be seized, and your days on the throne are numbered. Donald Trump has 3.5 years left in this term. And I got a feeling, based on what Ms. Bounty said yesterday, I got a feeling that President Trump is going to give her the resources that is needed to make this happen. And I'll tell you something else. You can bet Maduro and every one of his cartel buddies heard that $50 million number loud and clear. You don't throw around that kind of bounty unless you're ready to act on it. Strong leadership, relentless pressure, no safe havens for enemies of America. That's the Trump doctrine, and this is just the latest example of the president showing that type of leadership and showing that he is going to protect Americans, and he's going to do something about it. We'll be watching this closely because if Maduro's smart, and I don't give him that much credit, he'll be looking over his shoulder every second from here on out. And if justice comes knocking, I say open the door wide, and I've got a feeling that that's exactly what Donald Trump expects to do, is open that door wide and hand them $50 million. America is in a health crisis, and by America, not just strangers across the country. It's personal. Me, you, friends, and family. And a major cause? Excess weight. Joey Hudson here. The solution isn't expensive shots like Ozempic. It's learning how to eat and think about food differently, and that's what PhD Weight Loss does. Their clients lose up to a third of their body weight, no drugs, just real food, behavioral coaching, and proven science to turn your body into a fat-burning machine. Sure, you could spend up to $20,000 a year on injections that burn muscle, not fat, and come with risks like pancreatitis or bowel blockages, only to gain it all back. PhD helps your body naturally produce weight loss hormones like GLP-1s, no shortcuts, just results that last. Already on Ozempic? Dr. Ashley Lucas and her team will help you safely transition off and keep losing weight. Let's make America healthy again. Call 864-644-1900. That's 864-644-1900 or visit myphdweightloss.com. Here's a quick follow-up to a story we spent a lot of time on last week. Remember the mob attack of people in the streets of Cincinnati? By now, most everyone in America, and if not the world, has seen the grisly video of the lady who was beaten and knocked out by the thugs on the street that night. Her name is Holly. She's a single mom from Ohio, mother of 3. She's not a politician. She's not an activist. She's just a regular American who went out one night to celebrate a friend's birthday. She called an Uber to head home, middle of downtown Cincinnati, middle of the night, and what happens next is something out of a horror story. Fights break out on the corner. Not one, but several fights. And in this chaos, there's a man on the ground being beaten to a pulp. We saw that video too. Holly says she looked that he looked right at her, hand out, crying, "Please, God, help me." And folks, you can't hear that part of any of the videos because the crowd was too busy cheering on the attackers as they were videotaping the attack. They were yelling for them to curb stomp him, to kick him, to keep going while he's down, and to keep him down. Now, I want you to imagine being in that situation and seeing someone crying for help and knowing there's no police in sight. No one's calling 911. Holly did what a lot of people probably would not do. She ran into the middle of it, trying to stop the beating, trying to save this man's life. Here's her story.
So we just went and celebrated a birthday, and then when we were outside waiting for our Uber, unfortunately, some criminals or thugs or, whatever you want to call them, decided that they wanted to beat us down and just have their way with us in the street. So, I just tried to break it up with the people that were there, and, that's when I got knocked out. I got attacked, whatever you want to say. Everybody's standing there just videoing, and no one called 911. No one's helping. So, I felt it necessary to at least jump in and try and help save this man's life. In my opinion, I felt like I was saving his life. It looked like they were about to kill him to me. So that's why I couldn't stand there and do nothing.
And for that, she was violently slammed to the pavement, knocked unconscious, bleeding, her face black and blue by morning, unable to even drink water without it pouring back out. She suffered a severe concussion, neurological damage, and lasting vision problems. She's still in treatment, still doesn't know how much permanent damage she'll have to live with because it's too soon. And here's the part that will make your blood boil. Despite the attack being all over the national news, all over social media. Millions and millions of people have viewed that video. Despite Holly being a key victim in a high-profile case, according to her, Cincinnati police never even took her statement. She hasn't heard from the mayor, hasn't heard an apology, hasn't heard anything from city leadership. Oh, it gets worse. This wasn't just some random act. At least one of the people involved had a rap sheet a mile long. They should have been behind bars already, but thanks to the revolving door of so-called criminal justice reform, they were out, free to nearly kill a man in the street and almost kill the woman who tried to help him. Holly's words to Laura Ingraham the other night, she called it what it was, attempted murder. Not a brawl, not a scuffle, attempted murder. They tried to kill her, didn't care about it, had a screaming mob urging them to do it, urging them on. It's sickening. And what about the bystanders? Nearly 100 people were standing around, according to the police chief. The police chief confirmed this. Guess how many called 911? As we reported last week, one. One guy did. One person. The rest pulled out their phones to record it like it was some kind of sick entertainment. Folks, that's not just a breakdown in public safety. That's just a breakdown in human kindness, in human dignity. Now, Holly's had to go into hiding because she's gotten threats online. She's had scammers target a fundraiser set up to help her pay for her medical bills. This is a woman who risked her life for a stranger, and now she's fearing for her safety. But here's where the story takes a bit of a turn. She's not giving up. She's working with Ohio Senator Bernie Moreno to push something called Holly's Act. It would raise minimum sentences and bail requirements for violent offenders. In this insane revolving door where career criminals are dumped back on the street before the ink on the arrest report is dry. Keep them in jail where they should be. She also wants a law that penalizes bystanders who don't call for help in life or death situations. Think about it. A basic duty to pick up the phone and dial 3 numbers. 911. It's pathetic that we even have to consider making that a law, but here we are. This is where we live right now. And Holly said something at a press conference that we all need to listen to. She said this country needs to stop framing everything as black versus white, Democrat versus Republican, American versus foreigner, and start taking responsibility to make sure this doesn't happen to another mother, another daughter, or loved one. I agree. Let me tell you something. The leadership in cities like Cincinnati has failed miserably. They've failed to keep violent criminals off the street. They've failed to properly staff their police forces. They've failed to create a culture where helping someone in distress is the norm, not the rare exception, which is what we're seeing. And this isn't just about Cincinnati. This could happen anywhere. And we're seeing it happen in places like New York, Chicago, San Francisco, and Los Angeles under Karen Bass. Anywhere that you've got Democrats running the city, they're soft on crime, and that ideology has taken root, and criminals know that they're safe. The same script plays out every time. Criminals with long records back on the street. Victims left unprotected. Officials offering excuses instead of solutions. Holly should be a hero in her city. Instead, she's recovering in secret, hiding, hoping her story sparks some change, but can't come out and really talk about it. And here's the cold truth. If we don't start holding criminals accountable, really accountable, and if we don't demand that our fellow citizens step up when someone's life's on the line, we're going to see more Hollies, more innocent people beaten, more lives destroyed, more communities living in fear, to the point to where you don't even want to go out into your city. You're afraid to be out on the street. So I say, let's support people like Holly. Let's lock up repeat violent offenders, restore real consequences, and for all of our sake, put down the phone and call 911 when someone's getting beaten half to death in front of you. Take action to stop it, because it could be you next. On the text line, Paul in Greenville says, listening to Governor Pritzker in Illinois, if you haven't broken federal law, you're unwelcome in Illinois. Sounds right. Look, Paul, those idiots in Illinois and Los Angeles and some of the other big cities, they're nuts. Texter Joey, I do think Marjorie Taylor Greene and Nancy Mace have been drinking from the same well of water. I'm disappointed at some of MTG's thoughts about Israel. The Bible says that children of Israel are God's chosen people, and that's good enough for me, M.S. Green. So she needs to read and believe. To do otherwise is fatalistic. Your comments are welcome too. You can text me. You can email me, joe@joeyhudson.com. You can leave me a message on the MyPillow message line, 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Just leave me a message. I love to get those. And always use promo code Joey when you go to MyPillow, mypillow.com. You can call 800-893-4059. Boy, does Mike Lindell have a great deal for you right now. He is putting what started the company back out there. The MyPillow is offering the classic collection of pillows, the standard MyPillow pillows, for wholesale prices. When you use promo code Joey, it unlocks those wholesale prices. Only $19.98 for a standard MyPillow. Gets even better, though. For a limited time, they're going to offer entire classic collection at wholesale prices. You can get the queen-size MyPillow for just $24.98. Upgrade to a king size for $29.98. Get the body pillows for $39.98. And multi-use MyPillows for only $12.98. So go to MyPillow.com. Use promo code Joey. While you're there, order some towels. Get you some new slippers. Get you some bed sheets. They're all on sale, too. Use promo code Joey at MyPillow.com. Longtime Democrat strategist James Carville issued a warning yesterday to former Vice President Kamala Harris and her allies. Here's the warning. The Democrat Party wants nothing to do with them in 2028.
Anybody that had anything to do with 2024, the party wants to move on from that. I don't say it's anybody's fault, but I'm just telling you that, and this goes to Walz too, I wouldn't run again. That would be if I were your friend, if I were your chief advisor. I'm doing this not from a personal standpoint. This is not going to be the environment that a 2024 Democrat, that the Democrats are not going to look to anybody that had anything to do with the 2024 campaign.
Now, for someone who really doesn't care what the Democrat Party does in 2026, 2028, you got to think about this for a minute, though. And I think Carville's right. In the months after last year's debacle, the party has had a bad relationship with former President Joe Biden and with Kamala Harris. Some of the prominent party figures wishing that they would just fade into the background, go away, forget it. It was a bad dream. Ms. Harris recently announced that she would not run for governor of California, a move which many speculate leaves the door open for her to run for president again. She just doesn't get it, does she? She wants to blame all these other factors on her loss when she doesn't understand or doesn't accept the fact that the American people just didn't want what she was selling. They still don't. They don't want Kamala Harris. Now, during the episode of Carville's Politics War Room podcast, a listener expressed concern that Harris might run again with party backing, a prospect that Carville swiftly dismissed. Again, he said, "Don't be terrified. She wisely chose not to run for governor of California." He shared his belief that she will not be the Democrat Party nominee in 2028, saying anybody that had anything to do with 2024, the party wants to move on. And if the Democrat Party has any ounce of sense, they'll take James Carville's advice. He expressed the same attitude towards Harris's former running mate, Governor Tim Walz of Minnesota. His co-host, Al Hunt, said, Joe Biden, would you please go take the restful retirement you so richly reserve? Look, they just want Joe Biden and Kamala Harris to disappear, to go away. Forget it. Yesterday, we talked about the shooting at Fort Stewart in Georgia. I asked some questions about our military readiness, about whether we're doing all that we can do to help our men and women in uniform. In fact, coming up in just a few minutes, Representative Sheri Biggs will be joining me, and we're going to talk about just that, because Congresswoman Biggs is one of just a few active duty service members serving in the U.S. House of Representatives right now. I was challenged via an email from listener Randy. Let me read you his email. Randy says, your segment on the Fort Stewart shooter was thin on facts and long on guesswork. As a veteran, I know the military is just as prone to workplace violence as the post office. Combat arms units are a mix of the finest people I've ever met and some of the biggest dirtbags. I'd get more facts before I talked about something I know so little about, just my 2 cents. Well, Randy, your 2 cents are important. I appreciate your 2 cents. I think my questions, though, Randy, are still valid. And by the way, thank you for your service, Randy. I admire anyone who has worn that uniform. But the fact is that the shooting this week, I believe, is indicative of problems our military are experiencing because of 4 years of Joe Biden's DEI and woke policies. Now, again, I haven't served, but what I'm told by people and what I read about and see is that our military has gotten a little softer. And I think Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has his own questions. Yesterday, Hegseth is a man who actually gets it when it comes to building warriors. He says he's looking to bring back one of the most feared, most legendary, and most effective traditions in the U.S. Army basic training. It's called the shark attack. Now, if you've never worn the uniform, again, I haven't, but I've had this described to me. Let me paint you a picture. Day one of basic training. You step off that bus thinking that you're hot stuff. Next thing you know, you've got 3, 4, sometimes 5 drill sergeants swarming around you like piranhas. Knife hands in your face. Voices so loud your ancestors can hear them. Barking orders, breaking you down, building you up. You've seen it in the movies. They're disoriented. Their heart's pounding. And they realize real quick that they're not in Kansas anymore. They've just entered the crucible. A few years ago, the Army decided that the shark attack was too harsh. And this is what I was talking about yesterday, Randy. Under Joe Biden, they replaced it with something called the first 100 yards, a gentler, more teamwork-oriented approach. Now, I'm all for camaraderie. But, folks, war is not a group therapy session. Our enemies are not interested in team-building exercises. They're interested in killing our soldiers. Secretary Hegseth went on the Will Cain show and said it plain. We're going to go back to the basics. Drill sergeants will be drill sergeants again, loud, intimidating, and uncompromising. And you know what? Maybe that's what we need. You don't make great soldiers by handing out juice boxes and participation trophies. You forge them in fire, stress, and discipline. Supporters of the shark attack argue it's not about hazing, it's about transformation. You take a civilian, and in those first chaotic, high-pressure moments, you snap them out of their old mindset. You prepare them for the battlefield where chaos is the default setting. Maybe this is what we need. Secretary Hegseth nailed it. He said, you're going into the crucible. You're going to be forged. You're going to be challenged. You're going to be scared, nervous, and anxious. And by coming through that, you become an American warrior. And that's what we need, is American warriors who are ready to go to battle, ready to defend our country. And I think that's exactly the point, don't you? You see, somewhere along the way, parts of our military leadership starting worrying about some of the optics, more about how it looks than the outcome. We started shaving off some of the rough edges that make warriors warriors. We started thinking toughness could be taught in a classroom PowerPoint session. But you can't fake grit. You can't simulate battlefield stress with safe spaces and slogans and being afraid you're going to hurt somebody's feelings. What Secretary Hegseth is doing here is a restoration, restoring the culture, the standards, and the mindset that can win wars. It's not about being mean. It's about being ready. It's about making sure that when these young men and these young women face real danger, they've already learned how to keep their heads under fire, which helps them fight, helps them to be safe, to potentially save their own lives and the lives of those serving around them. I'll tell you, folks, our enemies are watching this. And when they see America training warriors the old-fashioned way again, they're not going to be happy, which is good. That means we're doing something right. And that means, once again, they fear our military. They fear our country. And they're not going to be pushing us to those boundaries now. So here's to bringing back the shark attack. Again, I've never experienced it, but I admire those who have. Here's to bay tossing. Here's to building fighters, not fragile egos. You don't protect freedom by coddling the people sworn to defend it. You protect it by pushing them harder than they've ever thought possible. So that when the moment comes, they push right back and they win. And these are the types of warriors we need out there defending our freedoms, defending our freedom of speech, defending our freedom to bear arms, defending all of our freedoms, defending our country, and keeping you and me safe so that we can get up and go to work every day and preserve the American way of life. Your comments are welcome on the Furman Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. That's 864-477-5639. Emails always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. Speaking of the Furman Ford text line, it's never been more important to support locally run businesses owned by people who actually live here in the upstate. Let me take a minute to talk with you about our friends at Furman Ford. If you're looking for a new vehicle, maybe a great pre-owned vehicle, one you can trust, or maybe you're looking to order that special vehicle. Either way, if you want a new one, a brand new one, or a pre-owned that you can trust, the folks at Furman Ford, they're there to help you. Their name is on the sign because their name is on the line, because every single transaction is important to them. Jim Furman, Matthew Furman. They do business the right way. When you stop by, when you give them a call, or maybe when you just send them a quick email, you're always going to have access to a member of the Furman Ford family. And by the way, they also offer great service, and you're not going to have to wait weeks and weeks to get it done. And you do not have had to purchase your vehicle at Furman Ford. Doesn't even have to be a Ford. They service all makes and models. Visit my friends at Furman Ford online at furmanford.com, furmanford.com. Joining us today from South Carolina's 3rd Congressional District, Representative Sheri Biggs. Welcome. How are you?
Hi, Joey. I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
Always a pleasure to have you. You have an exciting event coming up on August 18th, your inaugural Salute to Liberty. I want to get all the details on that in just a moment. But first, let's talk about what you have been doing. You guys are in recess, but it hasn't really been a restful recess for you. You've been busy.
Not at all, but I'm happy to be home and working in the district. We've been out covering all 11 counties, meeting with our local law enforcement, all of the sheriffs, and our first responders, our firefighters. It's been a great time at home for sure.
Yeah. A bad day yesterday at Fort Stewart, Georgia. Someone who serves in our military. What are your thoughts on an incident like that happening on one of our bases?
It's really frightening to me, and we sent out a message yesterday just hoping that all of the people that were affected, the family members and those members that were injured, that they're safe. And, it highlights the need to focus on mental health and to make sure that we're looking out and we're providing good resources, not only for our military members, but yesterday I was visiting with some of the first responders and just hearing about their experiences out in our communities. We're struggling in that area. Yeah. And as the representative for the 3rd District, that's very high on my agenda, and I'm going to be putting a lot of focus on that to try to come up with some good solutions that really work here at home.
Is there something that we should be doing, or that our military leaders should be doing to prevent future incidents like this? I mean, was this just a situation where this guy just was having his own personal problems, or is this a more widespread problem, do you think? We
have only been given minimal information. There are not a lot of details surrounding that, so it would be very premature for me to speculate. But I think from a healthcare perspective and as a military leader, I think just looking out for each other and making sure that we're staying in touch and know what's going on and are communicating well and checking on our peers and people in our community.
Yeah. Representative Sheri Biggs is our guest today. We learned of at least 16 illegals, suspected MS-13 gang members being arrested at a Home Depot in the Los Angeles area this week. L.A. Mayor Karen Bass, again, was critical of the Trump administration having federal agents in her city. And now we're learning that Penske Trucks is upset that DHS used their trucks. They released a statement saying that this was improper use of their trucks and that they'll be notifying DHS. Are they concerned that people will be upset that their trucks are used to pick up illegals? And why would a mayor not want these types of people removed from her city?
I think that's so ridiculous. As Americans, we should be concerned about our own communities and the well-being of our citizens. Our focus is completely off track, and I believe our moral compass is broken. I can't understand that. I can't even wrap my mind around their thoughts and where they're coming from.
Yeah. Congresswoman, let's get to the fun stuff now. Your inaugural Salute to Liberty event's coming up Monday, August 18th. It will begin at 6:30 p.m. at the Anderson Sports and Entertainment Center. You're promoting it as a celebration of freedom, service, and our American heroes. Talk with us about what you have planned.
Well, as I just mentioned about law enforcement and our first responders, these are people that are the fabric of our communities. And as you know, I support our veterans, and I think this is a good time to highlight those people that sacrifice and serve, that keep us, our nation, free, and that allow us to have the opportunities that we have. And it's exciting to me to have all 11 counties to come under one roof to celebrate our freedom, and just excited for this opportunity and this upcoming event.
And what a fun evening it's going to be. You just announced that Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders will be the featured speaker. I got to say, she's one of my favorites.
I really enjoy being around her. She is just, when you talk about people with common sense that really love our country, and her dad, just her entire family, they're inspiring. You know, those are the kind of people that make America great. And I couldn't be more pleased with her agreeing to come and visit with the 3rd District and share some of her ideas. You know, she was a trusted advisor to President Trump. I think she has led on some historic victories for the American people, and she's a mom, she's a role model, she's just a great person, and very excited to hear and have her as our keynote speaker.
Well, it's going to be a fun evening for sure. Again, it's August 18th, starting at 6:30 at the Anderson Sports and Entertainment Center. Talk with us about tickets and how much they are and how people can get them.
So you can get your ticket on our website. It's salutetoliberty.org. The tickets are available. For all of our law enforcement and first responders, those tickets will be available for $1. General admission tickets, they start at just $30 for an individual and $55 for a couple. And, you know, that includes your meal, your dessert, and great entertainment. We're going to have music, and Governor McMaster will also be there to help celebrate, and I'm excited to have him. You know, he's one of the longest-serving governors in South Carolina's history. Governor McMaster came out early in support of me, and he's done a lot of great things. You know, as I go out in our district and visit with our manufacturers and people it makes me very proud to live here. And Governor McMaster has done a lot for our state, and I'm happy they'll be in attendance.
Yeah, well, and again, it's just going to be a great evening, August 18th, and thank you for recognizing what our veterans and our active duty military and our first responders do in our communities, and just $1. I mean, that's great. So go to salutetoliberty.org, salutetoliberty.org. Get your ticket today. And again, if you're a first responder, just $1, and we'll get you in the door. Representative Sheri Biggs, it's always a pleasure, and good luck on the event. I hope you have a huge crowd, and I just appreciate what you do.
Thank you so much, Joey, and I hope you have a good day, too.
That's it for today's edition of Just the Truth. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss Studios. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. If you haven't joined my mailing list yet, visit my website, joeyhudson.com. Click on the Connect with Joey button so that you can receive our emails and the most up-to-date news. Also, join me on my YouTube channel. Be sure and like, comment, and subscribe. Just search for Joey Hudson. As always, thanks for spending a few minutes of your day with me. Do me a favor and forward this episode to a few friends. Just click on the share button and send to your contacts. We need to build an army of conservatives to win our country back, and we can do that by continuing to share the truth with our friends and family. Keep those comments coming via the Furman Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. Email to joey@joeyhudson.com, and I love your messages on the MyPillow message line. Again, that's 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Be sure and take advantage of the MyPillow special, just $14.88 on the standard MyPillows when you use promo code Joey. Order online at mypillow.com or call 800-893-4053. We're back again tomorrow and hope you'll plan to join us. Until then, remember, God's got this. He's still in control.